Good evening and welcome to our Facebook Live this evening. It is Tuesday, the 17th of May 2022. My name's Jenny McCormack and I'm an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator based in the market town of Brackley, which is in the county of Northamptonshire in the centre of the UK, just south of the Midlands. Thank you so much for joining me this evening. I've got some fun colours to work with. I'm using two of our in colours, Starry Sky and Tahitian Tide, and I'm combining that with Granny Apple Green for the stalks of our flowers. And we're continuing with the Sending Smiles stamp set, and this evening I'm adding some of the dies, not all of them, but some of the dies that coordinate with this set. So there are dies that cut out all these major pieces, and there are dies that cut out two banners. I'll get those out. One shorter one for the shorter sentences, and then some longer ones for the longer ones there. I haven't decided which sentiment I'm going to use this time round, so at the moment I've just got two blank ones. And what we're going to do with these is use the dies, so I'm going to stamp some of the flowers and then die cut them out and then pop them onto our base layer. So let me show you first of all where it is in the catalogue. So in our new annual catalogue that runs May 22 till April 23, on page 14 you'll see the Sending Smiles stamp set here on the left hand side. I appreciate you can't necessarily read all of the detail there, all of the sentiments or anything. And there are some dies that go with it, as I mentioned, and it cuts out the majority of the stalks and all of the flowers. There are some extra little flowers as well, but it also cuts out the word sending. So this is going to go onto there. So it cuts out the word sending, and it cuts out a shadow layer that you can obviously put the two together. So this one is going to sit on the top, and what I've done, because I'm using Tahitian Tide and Starry Sky, I've added those two colours for our sentiments. I haven't popped out the little holes yet. I was going to do that when I put the two together, and I just wanted to show you those before I did anything else with them. So let me show you them separately. And obviously you can use this one on its own. This one's not quite as useful on its own, and it's not the same size as the stamp, she says. It is the same size as the stamp. It didn't look it. How funny is that? So there we go. I'll take that all back. You could stamp the word sending and cut it out with that die cut. Okay, so I might have to have a go with that later in the week. There you go, just goes to show. I looked at that, looked at the size of that, and I thought they're never the same, but in fact that is exactly the same. There you go. We learn something every day. Okay, so let me put that stamp back before I lose it. Okay, now I've not got any messages, so I'm hoping that everything is okay. It says we're in the right place and all of that, so fingers crossed. If you are joining us live or even on replay, do say hi, let me know that you're here. So we've got the word sending and the little die cut that goes with it, which now I know matches the stamp set. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stamp some of the flowers, die cut them and pop them onto some layers. There's some great examples of other things that you can do with this, so I'm going to be casing some of these later in the week. So this can be found on page 14. The stamp set is £21 and the bundle, if you buy them together, is, instead of being £52, is £46.75. Now I would say, apart from the word sending, that the rest of the dies, apart from the labels, hi Trudy, are not necessarily very useful on their own, because they don't have any detail on them. But let us see. So the card I'm going to use is, I'm going to use a white base card, so basic white card. I've got my Starry Sky layer that's going to go onto there, and I've chosen some of the design series paper from our In Colours, and this is one of a number of designs. I haven't quite decided if I'm going for the stripy version. It's very, very fine stripes, but I'm pretty sure you can't pick that up from the camera. Or I've got this one which has got flowers and things on it. So that's going to be my base layers, and then my plan is to stamp some of the flowers and die cut them and have them popped on top of here with the sentiment. So let's grab some stamps. So I'm going to be using Granny Apple Green for the stalks, and all of the flowers have dies. A bit sticky. So let's have this one here to start with. I hope you've had a good day, everybody. It's been pouring with rain here, but it's dry at the moment. Okay, now I'm not quite sure which of these I'm going to use, so I'm just going to stamp some and then decide which ones I will cut out. I will also show you some of the cards we made at Coffee and Card, if I remember, before we finish. Okay, so let's start with these ones. So I've just got a piece of thin basic white. I'm going to grab my piercing mat, so I've got a little bit of cushioning underneath, and I'm going to leave a little bit of space in between them. So what I'm going to do, I think, is do it this way, and then it can go through our mini die cutting machine. So inking this up, so one of those. Oh, it's a bit close to the edge. Let's redo that. So that's better. So I might cut the end of the leaf off if I'm not careful. Okay. Let's have this one here, like so. And then the flowers, quite sure which colour I'm going to do, but I want to bring in the same colours really. So this is Tahitian Tide. And let's do the other flower. I quite like this one. Sort of, we decided we called it the sad flower. Oh no, it's not a sad flower really. Okay, let's do this in Starry Sky. and then I've got the middles, which I can either stamp or I can colour in, whichever I prefer. Okay, let's go for some yellow centres, I think. Oh, and I'm also going to do our sentiment on one of these. So let's have a different sentiment. Let's do, what's this one say? Comfort and strength. And I'm going to do this in Starry Sky because it's quite a fine detail and quite a fine style. I find you want to do it in a darker colour. Oh, hi Louise. Good choice to have it on your next order. Right, let's stamp this on here. I've got a little bit carried away with my inking up. Let's have a look. No, that's worked. So I've got comfort and strength. Let's do another one in case I want to change my mind. Hi Claire. Hi Katie. Smiles across the miles. What's this one? Sunshine to brighten your day. Just going to let that relax. I like the simplicity of the sentiments, and I like the fact you could use these entirely on their own as well. You don't have to have the sending necessarily, but they're just really nice sentiments in their own right. So those are stamped. So although those are quite small pieces, they're actually quite easy to stamp onto, but I do recommend you use a fairly dark colour ink because then you'll find it easier to line it up. Now, I don't know if I've got enough stamped images. Let's have a look and see. Oh, I want to pop the centres in and this centre as well. So I'm just going to grab wrong one. I'm going to use nice Mango Melody, nice bright orange for the centres, and really you want a nice small block for this. Okay, just going to stamp this here. So cute. And take my glasses off so I can see what I'm doing. And this one. Now there is a right wrong way for the little flower head, and it's one of those things I can show you. So the sort of wider part goes next to the petals. Okay. And then these ones you could colour in with a pen, as I said before, but let's just use this one. Stamp. And I don't know if this has a right or a wrong way. There we go. This one is slightly off centre, so what I'm going to do is just stamp it again a little bit further over, just to fill it in. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to grab the dies for these. Try not to throw everything around. So there are 10 dies in total. So this one will cut this flower out. This one will cut this one out, and there are 2 other flowers as well, so I might need to do those, I'm not sure. we'll have a look and see. Okay, this one does this triple stalk like so, and the key with these is there's a tiny hole here on these three ends, and if you can see the ink through the hole, you know it's lined up. I'm going to reline them in a minute. I just want to show you roughly where they are. And then I've got this stalk here. Hi Sarah. Okay, so that one cuts that one out. So I may end up with a couple of those flowers and one of those, I'm not quite sure, but I'm going to use my mini die cutting machine to do that. Let's move that out of the way. And I've already cut my two sending elements, so I'm just going to pop this one out. So I ran it through once through the mini machine, but I did add our self-adhesive dies on the reverse. Okay, so there's that one, and you'll notice there's a missing dot on the eye, and that's because I've left it deliberately in the die. You can't actually see it because it's got a white backing, but I did that deliberately so I could just pop it on when I was ready. So just going to peel this away just gently, because you don't really want to stretch the letters. So there's one. Okay, and I deliberately put this on in two smaller pieces so it had a break in the middle. Okay, just lifting that off. So you could use a wet glue with this, but it's quite a fine image, quite a fine die I should say. And now it's completely attached to me. Okay. So I'm going to start at the left hand side. I'm right-handed. So all I'm going to do is just feed it down slowly, not trying to put the whole thing in one go. And this is the first time I've cut these out, by the way, so I'm just assuming this is the best way to do it. Okay, so there's my sending, and I am going to pop out that tiny little dot. I might live to regret this because it is so tiny. Now I'm going to use a tiny dot of glue because although it has got a little bit of adhesive on the back, the chances of me being able to take that off are very slim. So I put a tiny bit of adhesive on there. And now I need to find it. Oh, I can't believe that. It was on here, wasn't it? Okay. Plan B is there is another little dot here that came out of something, so I'm going to use that. There we go. Cheat, huh? There we go. The chance of me finding that tiny little dot are absolutely minimal. Okay, so there's my sending and my sentiment. Let's just make a little bit of space and die cut my flowers, and then we can put this all together. So I'm keeping this one fairly straightforward. Hi Sam, thanks for joining us. I hope you've had a good day. Caught your live this morning, very good. And I think you were at Coffee and Card at lunchtime today. Correct me if I'm wrong. Sam goes over to Bicester for Coffee and Card twice a week. So if you're over that area, Bicester in Oxfordshire, then Sam would be more than happy to see you, I'm sure. Right, let's find my die cutting machine. So I've got the mini machine, so all of these dies will fit in the mini. If you've got the large machine, obviously they will fit in there as well. So I've got my base plate and my clear plate, and I'm hoping that these will all fit through at the same time, give or take. I know this should fit through here. There we are. Okay, so just going to pop these on, and I am just going to use a little bit of masking tape. You could also use our masking paper that we have. So the secret, as I said, if you can see it, is to make sure that those dots are lined up with the items underneath. Now this one is a bit easier. Okay, sorry this is taking a little while. Hi Catherine, I hope you're well and have had a good day. So lovely to see you last week. Okay, so I'm just putting a little bit of tape on those, and I think I'm just going to cut those two out first before I do too much. There we go. So I'm just going to pop that through. Could have given myself a bit more space, couldn't I? Never mind. Okay, so I've got one stalk here. Good. And oh, it's right on the edge. Just going to trim that little bit. I had this plate just a little bit too far over because the width of this is bigger than the I've got a pair of scissors attached. So I'm just going to trim that tiny little bit there. If I put them a bit closer together, I would have been okay. So those are my two stalks, and I have to say there's no way I would be fussy cutting those, just saying. Okay, and then let's do our flowers. I think what I'm going to do is just trim this little bit off so I get a bit more space to put them in. So let's do this one here. Oh look, there's my eye, dot of my eye. Okay, that's quite alright, Brenda. No worries at all. At least we have sound and vision tonight. Okay, so we're just adding in the dies. This is the one with the for the sad flower. I know it's got a name. It's not really a sad flower. Okay, so just going to pop those through. There we go. So we've got this one here. I'm just building up my flowers. And this one here, and I guess I would normally have 3. I wonder if I can get away with that one rather than... Hi Joanne, I hope you're well and had a good day too. Okay, there we go. Just pop that one through as well. So the dies cut out the main flowers, they don't cut out the centre of those flowers, other than this where it's all complete, but there is a die, if I can get it, that cuts out 2 little flowers, so that would be quite easy to cut out some small ones as well. Okay, let's pop these back, get this card sorted. Okay. Right, let's have a look and see. So I will show you the other cards that we've made this week and last week. So this is Starry Sky, this is going on here. This is Tahitian Tide going on top, and then I've got my flowers here, which I could put up either on dimensionals or flat. Okay, so I've got this one here, this one, and this one, like so. Now I could actually use a smaller flower here. I might move it over a little bit, but for the sake of time, I don't want to repeat everything particularly. So and then I've got my sending and whichever message I choose from here. So I think sunshine to brighten your day would be quite nice. So this could come down at the bottom, or at an angle, and my flowers, or let's see how this looks this way. Use the smaller one on that side. Okay. A tittle. Yes. I've already lost a stamp from this stamp set already. Okay, this looks a little bit busy this way. So let's put these layers together and then see how we do. Okay, so some multi-purpose glue on the reverse. This is going onto a white card. And then I've got plain. I mean, it's still got a design on it, but maybe that would be better than the florals. Yeah. So I'm just going to put the plain side. I do like the florals, but I think it's competing slightly with my flowers. So let's put this on here. So this has got like almost like a herringbone stripe, but I don't think the camera will pick this up. I can lift it up, but I don't think you'll be able to see it particularly. I certainly can't on my screen. Okay, so let's have a look. And I could add some baker's twine. So I do have some baker's twine in Starry Sky, and I also have it in Tahitian Tide. Yes, this one was particularly small, Wendy. This one here. And I said to the ladies at Coffee and Card on Friday, we're not going to use that because we'll probably lose it. And I went to show them how small it was, and sure enough, I'd already lost it between using it on Thursday night. So there we go. Now I'm just having a play with this placement here. Now what's quite nice with these flowers and the dies is cutting out some vellum flowers or vellum leaves behind. Always think that gives a really nice look. And I could cut this as well if I want this a little bit smaller. So I'm just going to play with that placement there and there. And that one. It's going that way. Decided. There we go. It'll be there in a minute. And then I've got sending sunshine to brighten your day. That's it, top and bottom I'm going. So let's put these down first, and I think I'm going to pop them up on dimensionals. Oh, hi Sam. If you've gone away and come back again, whether you lost connection or something, I don't know. But it's good to have you back. Okay, so I'm just using along the edge of these dimensional sheets. You could also use our foam strips that come ready cut like that, or you could use our foam sheets and cut some narrow strips. But it works just using the edges of the dimensionals. So those are our foam pads. So I'm going to pop this one at the bottom, like so, by sending at the top, and then I can see what space I've got for my flowers. So I've got some little halves here I can use, and I could have also cut this out with the foam sheet behind it. That would give me the height as well, and the foam sheet is the same height as our dimensionals. I'm going to have to let Cassie dog in. Right, let's cut this up. Cut that little bit off there because it's sticking out, and pop it on there. Okay, and attach my fingers from that. Just let the dog in. Makes a change from letting her out. Hello, Cassie. So just take the backings off. Hello. Okay, so I'm just going to pop this at the top, like so. There's my sending sunshine to brighten your day. And actually what I can do now is bring these right down if I want to. Now I could go on and add some more foliage and more flowers, but the main thing is that you get the principle of the design of the card. There we go. Now I know there's different flowers, just bear with me. So what I would actually do with this one is stamp and die cut the smaller flower, so I might do that, but I'll leave it as it is for the moment because I appreciate your time is precious. I've also got a team meeting online at 8 o'clock, so let's just pop those in like that. And I'm just going to put these flat, but you could easily put these up, and in fact the stalks up on dimensionals if you wanted to, and you could also stamp them and have 2 layers if you wanted. That would work. Hello, Cassie. I might put that one up on dimensionals and leave that one there. There's that one. And I put this one in because I wanted to include the starry sky in there for the colour. There we go, and I think just add a little bit of baker's twine. So just folding those together, and then I'll do a little bow. So just the bunny ears method, 2 loops together with a gap in between, fold 1 loop over the other, and then tuck it through that loop there. I'm doing this double just so that you have a chance to see it, really. That's that one. Must be another piece. There is. There we go. It's getting bigger and it should be getting smaller. There we go. That will do for now. It's a little bit big, isn't it? So do the cheats method. Cut it open and cut it down. There we are. Pop that on with a glue dot and we're done. And obviously for this card, what I would do is stamp the same flower on the inside. To coordinate with it, and stamp that on the envelope. There we go. Okay, so there is our finished card using Sending Smiles bundle. So I'll just bring it up to the top, you can see that a little bit better. So I could go back in and possibly add another stalk in there. Okay, but I'm happy with that as it is. Let me show you some of the other cards that we've made over the last couple of days. Thank you for your hearts. So this was the one that we started with, and this one, so these are the plain ones, and then we've got this one with some added shading, and then this one which I did yesterday at Coffee and Cards in Toaster, inspired by one that Catherine did on Friday. Just love those colours. And Libby, who was with us on Monday, did this but with it coming down like wisteria, so it was really, really effective. And obviously we have to stamp the inside and also the envelope. So there we go, that is Sending Smiles. So this was today's one, just stepping up a little bit with the dies to cut out the leaves and the flowers. We had the die for the little sentiment at the bottom and the double sending, and now I know that it's such an optical illusion, isn't it, because that to me looks bigger than that. But in fact they're all the same size, so you can stamp the sending and cut around it. So that might be on the cards for tomorrow. So we're back tomorrow morning, all being well, 10 AM here, for another one in our series of using this stamp set of the week. Thank you. Oh yes, it would work as laburnum. That's a great idea. And also heathers, I think it would work as. Yes, perfect. Thank you, Catherine. Great ideas. So thank you so much for joining me. I'm going to cut out that other little flower head, and I look forward to catching up with you soon. Hopefully, if you're around, I'll be here tomorrow at 10 o'clock. If not, you can watch on Facebook catch up or YouTube catch up later in the day. Thank you so much, everybody. Have a great evening, morning, afternoon, depending on where you're from and when you're watching. And I really appreciate your company. Thank you so much. Bye for now. Thanks for watching.